The East AAA Division at the U18 level is one of the most talented in the entire OSFL. The top 4 teams from the North AAA Division last season now call the newly formed East AAA Division home. The Cumberland Panthers, Kingston Grenadiers, Myers Riders, and Cornwall Wildcats were all competitors for the top spot in the North last year, with little separation between the 4 clubs. The Panthers and newly renamed Grenadiers both ended up at the top with 5-1 records, the Panthers claiming the top spot with their tiebreaker win over the Kingston-based team. These 4 teams are welcomed by the Durham Dolphins and Scarborough Thunder of the formerly named GTA AAA Division, as well as the Toronto Junior Argos, who make the jump to the AAA tier, and the newly formed Oshawa Hawkeyes varsity squad. The Dolphins finished last year's campaign at an even 3-3 and have familiarity with playing all teams in this division. The Finns are a scrappy bunch who aren't an easy out in any scenario. The Thunder had a disappointing 1-5 record last year, but showed flashes of talent throughout the season, even beating the Junior Argos by 30 points in the preseason. They'll look forward to adding more talent throughout their pipeline and being more competitive throughout the year. The Junior Argos and the Oshawa Hawkeyes should be the wild cards of the bunch. The Argos make the jump from AA to AAA this year after a successful 3-2 regular season. They had a budding rivalry with the undefeated Huronia Stallions last season, but could never overcome that hurdle, losing to them 3 times over the course of last year. They have the least experience playing AAA talent, but have an overall winning culture and are excited to show what they can bring against higher level teams. The Hawkeyes, on the other hand, are a bit of a mystery. They've had recent success at the younger levels, even beating the Cumberland Panthers in the U14 Tier 1 Ontario Cup this past fall. Their U16 team in the OSFL last year went 1-5. This being their first year playing U18 ball in one of the most competitive divisions in the entire OSFL, they'll be one of the most intriguing teams to keep an eye on this season. The Panthers, one of the early favorites to win a Tier 1 title this season, look to add a plethora of talent on the offensive side of the ball with their young playmakers coming up the pipeline. This added explosiveness, paired with their already stout defense, should make them one of the most complete teams in the U18 division. In the nation's capital, the Riders cannot be overlooked. Even though they split the talent coming from Ottawa with the Panthers, they managed to have a very complete team in 2022. Not being able to win their close games against the top of the division was their downfall last year, but Myers is a powerhouse with experience in winning. They'll look to add talent throughout their team and avenge a roller coaster season last year. The Grenadiers always have one of the most competitive teams in the province, and the OSFL is no different. The talent coming from Kingston's football culture is always elite. The top of the division will be survival of the fittest, and the Grenadiers will surely be in the mix. The Wildcats come into every provincial season with a chip on their shoulder and an attitude to prove everyone wrong. Being the smallest region to compete in the OSFL, the Wildcats scored the most points in the North AAA Division last year and was the only team to make it to a championship game. The Cats' elite development and savvy recruiting will make them competitive again this year, and they will look to overcome the number of teams that sit above them in 2023. Who do you see winning the U18 AAA East Division in the OSFL this year?